Welcome back, and welcome to another kind of feminist reads video. I did a video fairly recently highlighting some of the books that I've read that are about feminism or about women and the empowerment of women. There's quite a few really good reads out there, and it's kind of hard to get around to all of them. So I've got some more recommendations for you, books that I've read recently. I read these in close succession. I think I read one after the other because I was kind of on that bandwagon of reading about empowerment of women and, you know, girls rocking and all that. So the first book I want to talk about is heavily postated because I loved this book so much, and that is Girl Up by Laura Bates. I don't know why it took me so long to read this one. I bought this before I moved out to America, so back in the UK I bought it in Waterston's Piccadilly, and I don't know why it took me so long to read it. I loved Everyday Sexism by Laura Bates, and then it just took me a while to pick this up, and once I picked it up I just read it and was just loving it so much. I've heard other people talk about this one and it making them feel like really empowered and really passionate about what they're doing and what they can be doing, and I felt exactly the same way with this one. So this is if I read you the blurb, it'll tell you a little bit more about it. It says, they said you need to be thin and beautiful. They told you to wear longer skirts, avoid going out late at night, and move in groups. Wear shoes you can run in more easily in heels, dress to flatter your apple, pear, hourglass figure, but don't look like a slut. They said you're strong, you're opinionated, you'll be shrill, bossy, a ball breaker. They said that's not for girls. Take it as a compliment, don't rock the boat. They told you that beauty is on the inside, but you know they didn't really mean it. Well, screw that. I'm here to tell you there's something else. And there is a warning on the back of this book, and it says, warning, this book contains feminist limericks, colour by numbers, genitalia, and dancing vaginas. And yeah, this book is just, I've earmarked so many pages to tell you. So there's sections in here on Facebook and social media. There's sections in here about there's one called Don't Be Shy, Aim High. There's sections in here about porn and about rape and about consent, and I've earmarked a few bits that I wanted to show you. Okay, so there's a section in here on what you should do if you receive an unwanted picture of something on social media or on a dating website, and it actually gives you a whole load of things that you can screenshot that can send back, including my favourite one, which says that would look even better with a jaunty little hat on it. So I loved that section. There's also the section, the dancing vaginas mentioned on the back. These come up a couple of times. Love that. And then we've got the, it's really interesting. There was parts of this that kind of paralleled with the vagina monologues, and there's a whole start of a chapter called That's Not Your Vagina, and there are a couple of pages of names that the male and female genitalia got called instead of their actual names, which I just thought was amazing to see it all written down. We all know they exist, but to see it written down in a book like this was just fantastic. And then that chapter has this section here that says, vagina is not a dirty word. And I love the fact that there's these pages where they've just got these statements on that are just like, there we go. You know that they definitely want you to be paying attention to those ones. And then this one here as well. The guys do not give a shit about your thigh dimple. Love that one. Again, making it really clear. And then a bit like when I was talking about Doing It by Hannah Witten, it's got stuff to do with legal stuff in there as well. This one also has a section that says know your rights. The Protection from Harassment Act 1997 makes it an offence for someone to engage in a course of conduct which they know or ought to know is harassing, alarming or distressing someone, and then tells you about a whole load of other acts that literally highlight that you know, if you feel uncomfortable about what someone is doing, the law is there to protect you. And a lot of people don't realise that some of these laws are in place, and that includes things like sexting, and includes things like, you know, people touching you in a nightclub when you don't want to be touched. And then there's this other section called the Circle of Shame, which is about, you know, girls being called sluts and things like that, and how there isn't an equivalent for men, and that whole thing of, you know, if a man is quite forthright, then, you know, he's powerful and he's power hungry, but if a woman is forthright, then she's bossy and a ball breaker and things like that. It's got this little chart that says 10 things every girl should know how to do according to magazines, and the equivalent 10 things a girl should know how to do according to real life. And then it also has top 10 pieces of advice you must ignore, including don't get a reputation. Get a reputation for being awesome. I cannot shout about this book enough. Like, I love it. I will keep it on my shelf. I will dip into chapters every now and again. It's very much aimed at sort of younger women, but even as a woman in her 30s, I found this so like helpful and empowering, and things that I want to tell other people to do. And I just want to put this book in everybody's hands. It's just something that everybody should have on their shelf. And I think men should read it as well as women, because there's things in there for men to know too. So that was really good. The other book that I read that I was really excited about reading, that I read in close succession with this one, was Nasty Women, a collection of essays on what it's like to be a woman in the 21st century. I've seen a lot of other people raving about this one as well, and it came together so quickly after Trump was elected in America, and, you know, the whole thing came out of, you know, electing a president who'd been accused of all this harassment, and then, you know, during his kind of time in office, it's come out that, you know, rights for women are kind of slightly being taken away. And this is, a collection of essays. There's essays in here on what it's like to be a woman of colour, what it's like to be a gay woman, what it's like to be a plus size woman, what it's like to be the only Black woman in your school or your community. One of the great things about this collection of essays is there is so many essays in here from Scottish women. This had its kind of launch in Edinburgh and Glasgow, and it's really great to hear from Scottish women. So often these kind of books come from, you know, women in New York or women in London, and so this was a really refreshing thing that, you know, you had a Black Scottish woman, and you had somebody working in like the University of Edinburgh and things like that. One of my favourite essays in this one is called Lament, Living with the Consequences of Contraception. And I think that was so important to include in this, because I think so many people don't realise what a major part of a woman's life contraception is, and, you know, how much it can mess up your body, how much it can mess up your life, how important it is to have, how hard it is to get the right thing that's right for you. And this essay it just laid it out so completely. So it starts with saying, "Dear Dee, I miss you. That's probably hard to believe considering how things ended between us, but I do. I know I shouldn't be writing this. It's been nearly 10 years. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm settled. I'm happy. I've got what I always wanted. So I should have forgotten you long ago, right? I should. And then she says, I don't remember the exact date when I started getting the depot injections, but it was sometime in September 2001. I was 18 years old and very proud of the amount of research I'd done on the different forms of contraception available to me." And then it goes into kind of her relationship with that form of contraception and trying to find the right form of contraception, and the impact that had on her health and her life and her mental health. And I, like, for for someone to be that open and honest about something that people don't talk about very often, that was one of the standout essays in this book. I liked all of the essays. I really enjoyed reading all of the essays. This wasn't one where I skipped any of them. And again, it's another book I'd really recommend, and another book I will keep on my shelf that I can dip in and out of. I also listened to Men Explain Things to Me. I listened to that on audiobook, and again, it's one of those that I would probably keep and kind of reread again and dip in and out of. And that was a similar format, just a shortened version. So there was various essays there, and one of the sections in there was like the first sort of essay was literally Men Explain Things to Me, and it had somebody, she was at a dinner party, and somebody wanted to explain something to her about something she'd written a whole book about, and the friend that she was with at this dinner party said, yes, that book that you're referring to, she wrote it. And the guy's reaction to this, and it was just, you know, it was a lot more of the same thing, and a lot more of, you know, this is still happening today. And again, it was a shorter read, but definitely something that I enjoyed reading. But yeah, Girl Up, Nasty Women, Men Explain Things to Me. More feminist book recommendations. I'm sorry this video has been so long, but I am just very passionate about the books that I've been talking about, and definitely if you're on the fence about reading any of them, jump over that fence and definitely buy them, download them. Really good reads. So I will have another video for you soon. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've read any of the books I'm talking about, or you've read any other fantastic feminist reads, please leave me a comment below, and give me a subscribe as well. I would be very grateful. I will have another video for you soon, so I'll see you then. Bye.